So today, as I mentioned earlier, today we will discuss about the topic parts of a research paper. And our research paper is not simply a text or you can say a combination of paragraphs. It has different parts which has different requirements. So in short, you can say that um, when you are writing a research paper, there are different parts of the research paper, and each one has different thing to say to its reader. And each time you are wasting or writing a research paper, it also depends on the context and area of research of you can say journal writer as well. So, in this regard, let's see what are essential do's and don'ts in different parts of the research paper, and what generally people expect you to write in those parts. So, the need of this whole exercise is that each research paper has research papers have defined part, and as a student, as you are learning to write articles or research paper, it is very difficult sometimes to distinguish between those parts and what goes into those parts. So the different parts of a research paper have been established over the period of time to provide a structure that can be consistently used to make your research projects easier, as well as helping you follow the proper scientific methodology. So obviously, the people in science with more experience than students, they know about this. They learn about these tactics or these, you can say, scientific methodologies or research methodologies with through their experience or through their extensive training. But students also need to learn this because if you are in the field of science, you have to go through this process sooner or later. So in either case, you have to write research papers or write your research project reports, which need the understanding of different parts of you can say that scientific process. So normally, what we when we read a scientific research paper or thesis or anything similar to that, we find these following parts in that document. First of all, you have title on cover page, then the introduction, literature review, research methodology, results, discussion, conclusion, references, and appendices. So just to clarify that it is possible that you may not include appendices, or some parts can be made like results and discussion. But overall, these should be the main highlights of your document when you are writing a research paper. And if you follow what goes into each of these, end product will be concise, well organized. Yeah. So title. Um, this is the very first thing you, as a reader of any scientific, you can say contribution, you notice that the title. So title tells you that whether the document is relevant to you or not. So basically, when as a reader, when you are searching for some literature, searching for the material you want to read or add into your project, you always go for the title first. As an author, it comes a very it is just like yeah, you have produced a very good product, you have made a very innovative and novel product, but you want to load yourself into a very lucrative packing. So title is that packing of your product. The very first page in the research paper should be used to identify its title, along with your name, date of your assignment, and your learning institution. So normally, the name of the authors goes with the title, and also the affiliations of the author is also very important. So you can always see that affiliations does matter when you are talking about internationally, and affiliations uh, comes with their email addresses or their campuses, sometimes their campuses as well. So so title comes with the title of the author as well, and their you can say affiliation with any institute. Additional elements may be required according to the specification of your instructors. So it's good idea to check with them to make sure you feature all the required information in the right order. You will usually be provided with a template or checklist of some kind that you can refer to when you are writing your cover page or title. So these are some of the things, like when you are constructing a title of your thesis or your research project, the requirement is entirely different. You have to mention the date, you have to mention the name of the institute, you have to mention the name of your degree. Um, so, uh, so basically, when you are writing a research paper, you don't have to mention your degree, or you don't have to mention the date. You just have to mention the institute you are affiliated with, and whether you are a corresponding author or not. And yeah, these sort of things goes into the title of a research article. Then the very next thing which comes into the play as a reader, it is the abstract. So one thing to notice here, that abstract doesn't go, is not a requirement of every education or scientific you can say writing. It is part of some of the scientific some forms of some types of scientific writings, but it is not part of all the scientific writings. It is particularly part of the research articles, review articles, or you can say uh, articles which are published in conferences or journals. But it is not part of the, it may not be part of any book, it may not be part of any thesis, maybe, or research project report as well, or technical report as well. So the abstract doesn't go into all kind of scientific writings. So this is the very first point, that not every education paper requires an abstract. However, for longer, more complex papers, abstracts are particularly useful. Often only 100 to 300 words. The abstract generally provides a broad overview and is never more than a page. So there is always, when you talk about the scientific journals, you always have instruction from the journal committee, or you could say the journal management, that abstract should, there is a length of abstract in their journal. So there is always a word limit in journals or conference research papers or articles of the abstract, and you have to just take into that account. That word count is normally an estimated account, or sometimes they are given approximately, or sometimes in the form of a range. like a minimum 100 and maximum 300 or maximum 500, whatever. So, but generally people think that it should be a paragraph actually. It describes the essence, the main theme of the paper. It includes the research question posed, its significance, the methodology, and the main results of the or findings. So it actually covers whole of the research paper in a nutshell. Um, you get the research question. You have to mention the research question there. What is the significance of that research question, and what methodology you had adopted, and your and also you highlight some of your findings, which may develop interest in the eyes of the readers. So after title, abstract is very important, because before reading the whole paper, people like to see that okay, what actually the research paper is all about. So research paper, when you talk about scientific writings, um, sometimes you have long introductions, long literature reviews, or you can say your results or material methods or methodology. It also, you can say it is also, you can say, covered in many pages. So reader will just want to have idea that whether it's worth reading that paper in detail or not. So before going into the detail of the research paper, a reader can only read the abstract of the paper, so that he can know that whether it is relevant to his you can say requirement or not. So as an author, when you are writing abstract, you have to take into account all these parameters, all these considerations as a reader, that what reader will be looking for, and how should he effectively highlight the all these sections in the you can say in his abstract, so that readers of that particular field may not miss that abstract, may not miss to read your you can say research paper. So footnotes or cited works are never listed in an abstract. So that is very important. Abstract is only part of the you can say scientific writing or research papers where footnotes and citations are not included. Other than that, I guess in all other parts of the research paper, you always include any kind of, you can always include footnotes or citations. Remember to take great care in composing the abstract. It is the first part of the paper that instructor reads. As I just mentioned previously as well, it must impress with a strong content, good style, and general aesthetic appeal. Never write it hastily or carelessly. So this is very important. If you have constructed, if you have done very innovative and novel work, and you have not, you can say, presented it well enough in the form of abstract, in your abstract, then it will be less attractive. It will get less attention of the readers from other institutes, or from the, you can say, others, the scientists of your discipline. So if you have a very good and strong and you can say presentable abstract, and then it is very good for your research article, and people normally love to read the rest of your article as well, and this will lead to more citations on your behalf as well. So abstract summarize the study. It summarizes the study, including the following elements in an abstract. Try to keep the first two items to no more than one sentence each. So first of all, purpose of the study. What is the purpose of the study? It may include the hypothesis, the overall question, or objective. So this should be included in any form, whether you are constructing a hypothesis, whether there are some such questions or objectives that you try to answer in your study. So that should go into the abstract of the study. Then any model, organism, or system, or brief description of the experiment. So this is very important that you include the brief description of the setup or system you have used, just to give the user idea, okay, what your setup is and how it is working. He can go for the detail he can read the detail further in the text of the paper. So giving the brief description of the experiment or model systems or organism is very important. And it should be mostly it is one line or two line that can be added into the abstract, so that you can make use of it, and reader can also understand what's the system is about, whether he's working, if he is working on the same system or he's using the same modern organism or same experimental setup, then he will find it really relevant. So results should be included, should be part of abstract. This including specific data. If the results are quantitative in nature, report quantitative data. Results of any statistical analysis should be reported. So results should be included. It should also be one or two lines normally. Just highlight the importance of what of your results in the form of some statistical analysis, in the form of some quantitative or qualitative report or figure you have. So reporting that in abstract is very important, because that shows that the success of your technique or your scientific approach. So normally people report a figure or which becomes a claim actually of that research paper. That, okay, that for example you have improved a particular process by some percentage, you have improved the accuracy of a or a methodology of a scientific process. So that is a claim that comes in the form of results of your research or scientific writing. Important conclusions and or questions that follow from the experiments that can also be mentioned in the abstract. So normally, what is the style of the abstract? What should be the style of the abstract? It, as I mentioned, that it is normally a single paragraph and it is very concise. So as we discussed previously, that normally people have some sort of page limit or word limit, sorry, when it comes to abstract. So consistency is the key here. You have to cover the whole concept of your scientific paper in just a single paragraph. As a summary of work done, it is always written in past tense, because you are not performing it right now, and you will not be performing it doing the experiment in the future. You have done this already, so you will always use past tense to describe it in the abstract. An abstract should stand on its own and not refer to any part of the paper, such as figures or tables. So this is very important. As I mentioned, you cannot refer or cite to the anything in abstract. You cannot say, okay, just see the figure or as mentioned in the figure or table. So you just have to skip that part. You have to be very when you're describing your results or claims, you have to be very general, or the claim should be very generalized. It should not be referring to any particular table or figure or any particular citation. Focus on summarizing results. Limit background information to a sentence of or two if absolutely necessary. So this is what we already discussed, that you have to summarize the result rather than giving the you can say all the analysis into the abstract. Just try to summarize in one or two sentences. What you report is an abstract in an abstract must be consistent with what you reported in the paper. This is very important, that your results and all the content of the research paper or scientific writing should also tell the same story as you are mentioning in your abstract. Then correct spelling, clarity of sentences and phrases, and proper reporting of quantities are just as important in an abstract as they are elsewhere. So, so these are some of the, you can say, typographical, or you can say understanding of the mistake, which should be taken into account, that the spelling should be correct, the clarity of the sentences and phrases should be there. You should not make ambiguous statements in the abstract, because that will always lead to conclusion. And the experienced readers, they think that it is waste of time to read such papers which do not have clarity in the sentences or phrases, because abstract gives you an idea how the rest of the paper will be. So next part of after the abstract, which comes, is the introduction and statement of problem. A good introduction states the main research problem and thesis argument. So introduction is part of almost all of the scientific writing, you can say, modules or scientific writing types, whether it is a thesis or technical report, or whether it is a research article or review article. So there will always be an introduction to that. What precisely are you studying and why it is important? Normally, what we describe in introduction is that what actually are you trying to study and the importance of studying it. So this is very important. As a reader, if any reader gets past your title and abstract, then he will certainly try to read the introduction, because that lays a foundation or founding or a background, or you can say a basis of your study, and what are you studying, and the importance of that study, and how original it is. That means whether it has been, the idea has been adopted or conceived or practiced by someone else as well. This problem has been identified by someone else as well, or it is novel, it is unique, and that is very important when you are writing an introduction, because people normally like to see whether it is an extension of your previous work or someone's previous work, or it is just a new idea, a new methodology, a new approach of doing the things. Will it fill a gap in other studies? So it should also be mentioned there. Never provide a lengthy justification for your topic before it has been explicitly stated. So you should avoid providing a very lengthy justification. You should provide some justification, but avoid using too many phrases or too many sentences on justifying your idea. This is simply a summary of what you are setting out to accomplish with your research project, including the problems you are looking to scrutinize and any solutions or recommendations that you anticipate beforehand. So, so this you can say all everything you are trying to, you will be mentioning in the forthcoming text of the you are writing. This is just you can say a summary of what you are trying to accomplish your research projects and how uh, other people have looked into the same problem and what is your approach. You just have to you can say present it so that it looks like that it is a very original idea. So what should be kept in mind that describe you should describe you should describe um, the importance of the study, why was it this worth doing in the first place, and provide a broad context. So describing the importance of the study is very important, and just start from broad context and just narrow it down to why it is worth doing, what is the importance. Defend the model. Why did you use this particular organism or system, and what are its advantages? You might comment on its suitability from a theoretical point of view, as well as indicate practical reasons for using it. So these are two ways of doing this that you can both defend the model and just mentioning it's some of the advantages. Advantages actually comes with the justification of the you can say your model or your system. So they create a justification of your system actually. So you can just mention some theoretical or practical justification for that system or model. Provide a rationale, state your specific hypotheses or objectives, and describe the reasoning that led to you to select them. So this is very important. Once you establish the fact that you are going to solve some problem, just and once the problem domain is set or a problem statement is set, you just have to create some hypothesis or such questions that you will answer in this paper, in that paper. So so you have to set some objectives and hypotheses, and how you come to realize that this problem that you have, you can say formulated, you will it led to you to formulate those objectives. So this is very important that you try to establish a link between what is your system and how original your idea is, and how you will address um, the importance or advantages of using your current system by answering some of the questions or objectives. And while answering those objectives or achieving those objectives, you will obviously go through some experimental setup. You will adopt some methodology, and you will also perform some experiments and some data analysis to achieve those objectives or test those hypotheses. So very briefly describe the experimental design and how it can be accomplished, the stated objective. So your paper should be in line with the later parts of the your writing. So use past tense. So this is about what should be included in your introduction. Always use past tense except when referring to established facts. After all, the paper will be submitted after all of the work is completed. So always use past tense. Organize your ideas, making one major point with each paragraph, if you make the 4 points listed above, you will need minimum of 4 paragraphs. So normally introduction have some combination of 3 to 4 paragraphs or 5 paragraphs, and each paragraph is revolving around a single point. So you have to organize your ideas in such a way that you have to write short paragraphs on each of the ideas. Present background information only as needed in order to support a position. The reader does not want to read everything you know about a subject. So present background information in very concise or where needed. Otherwise, just avoid explaining the basics of everything. State a hypothesis objective precisely. Do not oversimplify. And so, do not oversimplify it. It just you can say present them in a precise manner. Always pay attention to spelling, clarity, and appropriateness of the sentences and phrases. So this is important in any part of the you can say paper. So we will keep today to this until introduction, and rest of the topic we will cover in the part 2 of the lecture.